It's time for the Longines Chronoscope, a television journal of the important issues of the hour, brought to you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. A presentation of the Longines Whitnor Watch Company, maker of Longines, the world's most honored watch, and Whitnor, distinguished companion to the world-honored Longines. Good evening, this is Frank Knight. May I introduce our co-editors for this edition of the Longines Chronoscope? Larry Lasser, CBS News correspondent, and Kenneth Crawford, National Affairs Editor of Newsweek magazine. Our very distinguished guest for this evening is Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
The North Pole used to be a no-man's land, but these are the days when, by buying a ticket on a commercial airliner, you can fly across the North Pole and drink a cocktail at the same time. You know, only 60 or more years ago, about 35 years ago, our guest tonight found out whether there was any land north of the North American continent. He made that first discovery flight, and I must say that Admiral Byrd, our guest tonight, is not only our greatest living explorer, but he's been an inspiration to countless Americans. Admiral Byrd, you've been to both the North Pole and the South Pole. Is there any unexplored land left on this earth that might appeal to adventurous young Americans?
Yes, there is. And not up around the North Pole, because it's getting crowded up there now, because they find out it's really usable, not only to live in, but militarily. But strangely enough, there's left in the world today an area as big as the United States that's never been seen by a human being. And that's beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. And I think it's quite astonishing that there should be an area as big as that unexplored.
This is a tremendous
So
challenge.
there's a lot of adventure left down at the bottom of the world.
Well, Admiral, do you hope to see that?
I do.
Well, Admiral,
Yeah.
would you say that since you've been to both the extremities of Earth, are these expeditions to such far-off places, are they getting easier because of modern techniques, or is danger still close at hand?
Well, it's a little risky, but nothing like it used to be with the old slow planes and the small cruising radius where we had to put down bases. We replaced the dog teams, and of course that was a big improvement. But now the planes go much faster and they are safer, and they have a much bigger cruising radius. You haven't got the danger of a terribly heavy load.
Admiral, an expedition to which I believe you're the advisor is now en route. What is that expedition doing?
Well, that's the icebreaker Atka, and it's a reconnaissance expedition. It's going down to the South Pole area to make certain observations and to look for some bases. They will be back in April, and they will report back, and upon the information we get from that undertaking, we will base the bigger expedition that's to follow.
Is that very definitely planned, or is that...
That is being planned right now. So I'm willing to say to you that there will be a number of expeditions that will follow, I think, year after year, at the bottom of the world, because the government has really become interested.
Well, Admiral Byrd, I can understand, I think everybody can, the interest in the North Pole because it's so near our greatest challenger, Soviet Russia. But why this interest in the bottom of the world? Nobody living down there, is there?
No, it's pretty cold. There's only one permanent resident, that's the emperor penguin. The little ones live further north. I tell you one reason they're interested. It's by far the most valuable, important place left in the world for science.
And everybody has heard that Byrd is the word. Everybody's heard about the bird, what a bird, bird, bird. Bird's the word, 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 what a don't you know about the bird? Hey, everybody knows about the bird, what a bird. Bird's the word, what a bird. Well, everybody's heard about the bird, when a bird, bird, bird. Bird's the word, 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 when a bird, bird, bird. About the bird, everybody knows the bird is the word. What a bird, bird's a word. What a bird.
I take it I have your attention. Good. There's a lot to explain.
What is this place?
I think you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
You got the touch. This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
Not ramping down. Just getting started. Nothing stops this train. Who are you?
Oh, you better be joking.
Greetings. Hello, everyone, and welcome in to Here to Chew Bubblegum with Goose and Justin, episode 158. What's the name of this episode, Justin?
The Byrd.
Byrd. How did you like it? Everybody's hurt. Did you like it?
I love it.
I was trying to find a really, really good version of that.
When we can't do it because of copyright, but the best version is the Peter Griffin version.
I actually started to try to sneak that in, but I wasn't able to. Are you okay this week?
Doing good. We worked with a guy for years. He's no longer working there with us, named Byrd. And me and a welder named BJ at work would walk around all the time. We both had the Peter Griffin version on our phone. And every time we'd get near Byrd, we'd start playing it. And first of all, Byrd's extremely superhumanly strong and liked to hurt us every time we done it, but it was well worth it.
Well, I can just imagine if you'd actually touched him somewhere, if he would get that upset over the song.
He'd have broke her hands.
I want to welcome some people in before we get started. Mr. Joseph Deerte, thank you very much for joining us, sir. We're glad to have you here. Now, we have Captain Buzzkill that's on right now with us, but we also have Justin Perkins. Happy to have you here. Moving on down the list here, and we have our good friend of the show, Mr. Sean Doherty. Thank you very much, Sean, for joining us. Now, Sean was our social media shout out of the week last week, and we have another one coming up at the end of the show this week. The lovely Christy Yant, who is one of our great moderators. Happy to have her here. And this guy right here, I'm not going to say where he's from, but I have got to know him outside of YouTube. He is a great guy and one of my friends, and I'm blessed to call him a friend. I'm talking about HD the Wise. So, and he had been, kind of forgetting about it, but I kind of reminded him earlier, and he, as you could tell by that comment, he said that he made it. So this is going to be an interesting one. Yes, it is. If you're, let's see, if you've thought about Antarctica any and like what's really there, or Roswell, or UFOs, or aliens maybe living on this planet, we're going to have a video and some, in the video is slides, and we're going to be going over some stuff from General Byrd's alleged diary. Some people say that it is real. Some people say it's not. So we are going to be doing that. Welcome in, Nickel G. Glad to have you here. Glad you have joined us. The Tartanians. Have you heard of the Tartanians, Justin?
Yes.
They're from the planet Tartar.
It's like if you don't brush your teeth good enough.
Possibly.
Yes.
Let's see, when
Tartar.
I automatically think when people say that they don't brush their teeth is the old Schoolhouse Rock, mush mouth. You remember that one?
Yes, I do.
So we're going to start out with some email, but before we get started, I want to thank everyone again for tuning in. It really, really means a lot to me. I'm sorry that we brought the shortest show to you that we've ever done last week. That was totally, I had a text and I had to rush home. Everything's okay. Everything was okay last week, just as a precaution. I just went home. So just to make sure. And I had rather have done that just so my mind, I wouldn't be, just worrying about everything, because if I was, I probably would have dozed off, or just been thinking about them last week. If you were talking and you would have been talking to yourself. And I know the last time that the doctor said, if you got caught doing that again, it would be very bad news for you.
They frown upon that, and I don't understand it. I'm the best conversation I've ever had.
We got about 4 email this week. We're going to get these started really quick. The first one's from Mike. It says, "Hey, Goose and Justin, I hope this email finds you both well. I just wanted to check in and make sure that everything is okay with Goose. In last week's show, you guys seemed to wrap it up quite quickly, and I couldn't help but notice that Goose's energy seemed a bit off. Is everything all right? Please let us listeners know if there's anything that we can do to support you guys. Take care in Roswell, your loyal listener, Mike." Thank you very much, Mike. And again, it was just, people are well aware that my mother-in-law is, has cancer, and my stepdad is not doing good, but everything is totally fine. And I really appreciate you, Mike. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Christy. She says, "No apology necessary, Goose, completely understandable." Thank you very much. That really means a lot to me. And I knew people would be worried because Justin actually, instead of Facebook messaging me, he texted me, I think last week after we wrapped everything up, just checking on me. So I knew people would be worried because Justin hardly ever texts me.
I don't do much conversating at all. So if I take the time to do it, I'm worried. And I was pretty worried.
Justin is a great host. He does a hell of a job, but he's a very bad friend. I'm joking, Justin. I'm joking.
Like, I know you are, but like you're not in a way too.
No, I am.
No, I've had that conversation with people before. I'm not that guy that reaches out all the time.
You are fine, man. You are fine. I was just giving you a hard time. I did not mean that.
I know. I don't take it personally because they're like there's a little bit of truth to it. Like not that I'm a bad friend. I'm just very different in how I react to things. If it seems private, I leave it private person.
There's nothing at all wrong with that. Let's see. You want to take the next one there? I was trying to look at it.
This one is from Reed. "Hey, Goose, Justin, Lucy, and Miss Vicky. It's Reed. It's been a while since I've written in, but I'm still an avid listener. I've caught a few live streams, but always listen to the podcast. First of all, this is the best the show has been since Cronkite left. It's always been entertaining and thought-provoking. I wanted to ask about making the alleged aliens landing at..." Sorry, Reed. Reading ain't my specialty. "I wanted to ask about Ben making the alleged aliens landing at the Miami Mall. I know that you have touched on it the last few weeks, and last week Justin mentioned a terrorist attack situation. I'm curious to know where he got that information from. Is it inside information, Justin? If you can say, I'm all ears. If you can't, I understand that too. Anyway, what are your true thoughts on it? Thanks for always delivering the best ear candy, Roswell." And I'm sorry that I can't read. My bad, Reed.
Justin is an author. He can write books, but he can't read them.
I don't write them very well either. And no, that's just a very uneducated guess on my part.
I think that there is more there than what we were told. That was way too many police officers responding to that scene just for
like all of Miami,
for kids fighting and letting off fireworks. I don't buy that at all. No. I do think that there's more to the story. Will we ever find out? Possibly not. I really don't think we will. Just for the simple fact was that they had stations set up and they were asking people, did they film anything on their cell phone before they left? And some other reports state they were actually taking people's cell phone and deleting footage off that, which that's highly illegal. You can't do that, but that is what some of the reports are. Before we get to this next email, let's go ahead and give Mother Goose a call. She has no idea we're going to be calling. So we'll give her a call because this email mentions her, and I'm sure she will want to listen to it. I thought about sending it to her in advance. And now Mother Goose is my mom, so we're going to be calling her. Dreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches. That sounds great. Hello. Hey, thank you very much and welcome. Welcome.
What are you talking about?
Hey, hold on one second. Crimson, thank you very much for joining us. Justin, you need to follow this guy right here. He is, the videos he makes, funny as hell. You need to check him out. Crimson.
I will check him out for sure.
Christy, if you can you throw his link up to his YouTube page? Mom, you are on Here to Chew Bubblegum. I know I didn't give you a heads up. This is totally spur of the moment. We're going in segment 1, doing some listener email, and somebody wrote an email in reference to you.
Oh my goodness.
That is what I said when I saw the subject matter.
David, are you joking?
No, I'm serious. I'm getting ready to read it, but do you think it's good or bad?
Well, I don't know. Don't sound good, does it?
It definitely does not. But I'm going to go ahead and read it. Now, this lady has listened to the show for quite a while. Because I think she may have been one of the second or third episode she wrote in. Lori from the UK is what she goes by. And she says, I hope you're doing well. I've been wondering when we'll get to hear from Mother Goose again. Her insights and stories always add an extra layer to the show. She's so sweet, and you can just tell that she cares so much for people. Is there any chance she'll be making it back on soon? We miss her. That is what the email said. Yes.
Well, I love that. I needed that. Well,
but what do you think about that?
I love it. I mean, it's made my day.
Well, good. Now, you will be coming back on the first part of February. I can't think of the date right now, but you will be on with a very special friend of the show, Mr. Rich Newbuck, who specifically requested to come on the show when you were going to be on screen with us.
Is he going to be nice?
Yes, he's going to be nice. He adores you. You know, he thinks you're hilarious.
Okay.
You are the most popular person on the show, and you're not even on the show every week, and you're by far the most popular. Everybody loves Mother Goose.
Well, that is just as sweet as it can be.
I'm thinking about having your face tattooed on my stomach and have my belly button to your mouth. Like that way I could make you whistle. If my belly button was your mouth, like I could roll my belly like I do on that, like in the movies and stuff, and it would make it look like you're whistling. You remember there was a guy back in the 50s or 60s used to do it all the time. He
I remember that quite well.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get Mama Goose on my belly, and then I'm gonna make it where she'll whistle.
Okay.
Oh, hold on really quick, Mom. Let's see. I want to welcome in Luke Fugit. He says, always good to hear from Mother Goose. No problem, Christy. I will give you or take care of your recommendation that you recommended there. Nada, welcome in. Christy says, tell Mother Goose I adore her.
Wow.
Crimson says Mother Goose is adorable.
Wow.
Thank you very much, John Eagle. He says, yo, Goose.
That has made my day.
Well,
what do you and What did you all think about it?
Well, wait just a second. We've got one more here. Dreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches says your mom is an angel and absolutely wonderful. Bless her heart for putting up with your shenanigans, Goose.
Well, you know, that person really understands because I've put up with a lot, ain't I, David?
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about, old woman.
The struggle is real.
Hey, guys, that's David's little temper he's got.
I love how she does not call me Goose, and she's been on the show tons of times. And I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and just call me Goose. We'll call you Mother Goose. Okay, David, that sounds good to me. Doesn't it, Racine?
Yes. Now, let me ask you too.
Okay.
Now, and be very serious.
Okay.
How many Racines do you know?
You're the only person I have ever, that's not a place, like Racine, Wisconsin, and there was another one that I've ever heard of named Racine.
Yeah.
Well, you're the only one I know, the only name I know. And I knew about you before I knew you were Goose's mom and didn't realize it. My wife was, as soon as my wife found out who it was,
she saw your name on Plenty of Fish.
My wife thinks you're the sweetest human ever lived. And I have no memory because I was hitting the head a lot. So let's ruin Rachel's now. Hey,
No, he's actually hollering at his better half to get her.
Oh, yeah. She is so sweet. Oh, she is adorable. And she's got the sweetest mother. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, well, let's not their last names or their real names,
I did.
Well, no, not yet, but I know what's coming next. Since you already said,
I've already forgot your name. Oh, God.
It's Rachel, and her mom's name is Linda.
Who said that? I didn't.
No, I did. No, I don't care who knows.
No, I mean,
my name's Rachel, and my mother-in-law's name is Linda. Yeah.
Yes, and she is so sweet.
She's all right. I mean,
she is really very sweet.
I do have a great mother-in-law. I'm one of the few people I know that everywhere I go, me and my wife get ready to go vacation or something. I go, is Linda going? I take my mother-in-law everywhere. I love my mother-in-law.
Well, she is a sweet, sweet person.
My mom's had so many of them, I've lost count. Oh, I'm joking. I'm nothing.
It's okay.
I'm going to read some more comments. Because Nada said, well said, he puts her through the ringer. Christy Yant says, Mother Goose is a throne in heaven for all the stuff, or has a throne in heaven for all the stuff Goose has put her through. Joseph Deerte says, Mother Goose in the house. What's that?
I said, and she don't know the half of it that you put me through.
Well, no, that goes back to you too. My mom pushed me down some stairs.
I heard that
when I was really young.
I think that's what's wrong with him.
She did. I was like, how old was I? 3 years old when you threw me down the stairs. 2 years old.
That's funny, David.
Was I 2 years old?
David, stop.
You don't want to share that story. Okay. For real, she told me not to get in front of her. She had 2 baskets of clothes. She was a single mom. I was always clean. She actually had me afraid of dirt when I was a younger child. But she had 2 baskets of clothes. She's a short lady. And I remember her telling me, do not get in front of me. I cannot see where I'm going. So being a little kid, here she's walking really slow with like these 2 clothes baskets, one on top of the other. And she had like a towel on top of the top one to keep like stuff from falling out. Really smart. So I remember thinking, she's going too slow. And I just went around her. And I remember stopping at the top of the stairs because I wasn't old enough to walk downstairs by myself. And I remember when I turned around, I just seen this basket coming at me. And it hit me and knocked me down. And I think I screamed. She actually threw the baskets down. Clothes went everywhere. And I think she actually cried when she did that. And I did too, as they were putting the stitches in my head.
That's how it explains so much.
That is true, but you did not have to have any stitches.
No, I did not. I'm talking about the emotional stitches.
It's like that scene from 300.
Now what?
I was telling him it reminds me of that scene from 300 when the Spartan kicks that guy down into the well.
That's exactly what it was like. I mean, you know.
Yeah, but did not. I had the basket, and after I locked the door, I got down to your level.
Yes,
I
you
got down
did.
on my knees. I said, "You looked me in the eye," and you did. And I said, "Do not go past me. Do not."
Well, you didn't tell me you were going to be walking really slow.
Well, I mean, anybody walks slow with 2 baskets full.
Well, I didn't know.
Of your dirty underwear.
I wouldn't even. I was wearing diapers. I wasn't even potty trained. I was still shitting on myself. Yes, I was.
He was crawling.
No, you were not. Now, he was not, you guys. He really was not. He was not. He knows better.
See, but it sounds better. It sounds better for you if I'm like smaller, because if I was older, I mean, that's just child abuse.
And you know what happened?
That's just child abuse.
Let me tell you what happened now. What time where the clothes went up everywhere. There was one pair of his dirty training shorts.
You're full of it.
Wrapped around his neck.
No.
And you ought to see him. Now, hey, David.
No.
Hey, David, how does that feel? Yeah.
How does that feel, David?
That's how you do me.
That is totally not true.
I believe it.
It is not true. It is not true. You're correct. But how does that make you feel?
Well, it makes me feel fine because I was a little kid. I mean, you was the one that was dressing me with dirty underwear around my neck.
Made me happy.
Thank you, Nada.
But let me tell you.
Yes.
David, he is correct about me not. He didn't know what dirt was because I was a young mother and I did take care of David.
She did. She did a great job.
I put him in preschool, and I went over to check on him.
Now, see, I just called to read her this email, and you see how she does. I'm just joking.
And so I went over to talk to the teachers, and she said, "He don't want to go outside." Said we try to get him to go outside. Said, and he looks at us, and he'll say, "I don't want to get my clothes dirty." Now. What about that?
That is true.
That's true.
That is 100% true. Well, she had me scared and terrified that if I got dirt on me, I would die. That I would die. Yes, she did.
Now.
Yes, she did.
I didn't.
How old was I when I learned how to walk, woman?
Well, that ain't got nothing to do with
No. Let's answer the question. How old was I when I learned how to walk?
18 months to 2 years.
You know why I was that old? I mean, she set me down. I
had trauma from the fall.
I took off and ran a marathon as soon as she set me down. No.
You did not. You are so funny.
Oh, hey, Apple Creek, welcome in. Mom, Apple Creek is from across the pond. Hopefully you know what that means. And she is a very sweet, lovely lady. Welcome in. Thank you very much, Apple Creek. No, I was that old because she would not set me down. She always packed me around. And my grandmother, God rest her soul, told her, she's like, "You're going to have to set him down. He's like almost as tall as you are. He should be able to walk." Right. But I am very blessed for having you as a mom, and people love you. They love it when you're on the show.
Well, I just appreciate that so very much. That is sweet. And thank you all for the kind words.
Justin, is there anything you want to say?
No, I just love Mama Goose. As long as she knows I love her. And I don't blame you for all of David's head trauma. I mean, I'm sure other injuries came after that.
They did.
So maybe that's not the reason. His clothes are all, but his clothes are always immaculately clean every time I see him, and he's very polite. He always makes other people go in before him places and walk in front of him. So, there's some good came from the mental use.
It actually took me a minute, that you were like, huh? Well, I mean, yeah. So,
well, it's a wedding.
I'm sorry, I have a head wound. No, I actually did get stitches in my head because I had a cousin that hit me in the head with a 2x4 when I was like 5. So, no, if I had that on video, just my mom's reaction, that was a treat. I mean, she went from fainting to grabbing me and running away like she was in a war movie packing a child that was, that was actually about to die. What, you tried to drive a car without any keys, right?
No.
Yes, you did.
Maybe.
See, maybe. See, so. Hey,
maybe that's exactly what happened.
Hey, J.A. Rec, welcome in. Oh, we definitely appreciate you. Thank you very much, my friend. We're on the phone with Mother Goose. She's been verbally harassing me and talking really nice and sweet about Justin. So
yeah, she called and started just yelling and cussing at us. I don't know. I don't know. She said, "You ain't got my money by next week. I will cut you." And I don't know what's going on. I'm scared.
Yeah,
you should be.
I would be too.
Because she learned all those tricks and holds and moves from her years of mud wrestling
and beating up kids, kicking them downstairs. This is Sparta.
Me and
David's
mother has, I've learned a lot.
Yeah,
really has.
Well, do you want to share one thing you've learned from me before we end the call?
That you are, to me, the sweetest person that I know.
Well, thank you very much. You're really gonna make me cry. So
that's completely different than what she told me. She told me the main thing she learned from you growing up is that you could hold your breath for over a minute and that her arms got tired at exactly a minute. That's what she told me. I don't know what she meant by that.
Exactly.
She said, "That David, he can hold his breath for over a minute. And right at a minute, my arms get real tired and I just let him come back up. Bubbles never stop."
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
But thank you very much, Mom, for joining us. I just wanted to give you a quick call. I love not telling you in advance and just calling you that way.
Okay. Anytime.
Okay. What are you going to do? Are you getting ready for bed? Because you go to bed early, right?
Yeah.
Have you watched any good movies?
Yes.
I have. Do you want to tell us about it? And then Justin has one he wants to recommend to you that he recently watched.
Okay, I watched this one. Let's see. From Chicago with Love. And it was so good. I just watched it maybe 4 hours ago.
Was it on Lifetime?
And no, it was on a channel that you need to get really, really bad.
What's the name of it?
Pure Flex.
I already have it. Pure Sex. I have that channel. It is set.
Here's what I said.
What?
Pure FLIX. Pure Flex.
Flex.
Not the word I thought was coming. I'm going to tell you right now.
Let me tell you about it.
Okay, tell us about it.
There was this woman, and she was engaged to this nice-looking man. Well, this other man wanted her to, they met in an elevator, and she helped him with his fears because the elevator stopped. Well, to make it, I'll just tell you.
Have you ever heard of the Aerosmith song, Love in an Elevator? Did that happen?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But they were going to pretend that they were engaged to to get this count or something at work. Well, they did pretend that they were engaged, and they danced, took dancing lessons, and I don't know what else.
What happened next?
They actually, in the end, fell in love.
But okay.
By that date.
Did they get married? Did they go back to that elevator where it all started and got married there?
No,
okay.
they didn't.
Did they live it up while they're going down? Joseph Dirte wants to know.
No.
Okay.
It was a nice Christian show.
Okay. So was there any kissing or anything in it? Didn't you say one of them were married before this happened?
No, they were engaged. I mean, this lady was engaged
to someone. How is that a nice Christian film if you've got someone that's married to someone and then they're out here
they're not
getting ready to do the nasty with somebody else in an elevator?
Nobody's married.
Nobody's married.
What kind of movies are you watching?
Nobody's married, and it was a good movie, David.
Yeah, but they were engaged. They've already made that pledge and oath, and they broke it.
Yeah, but the man was glad that he didn't have to marry her.
Was he the devil?
So the other man that was in the elevator with her,
was he gay? Was he gay?
No.
Okay.
So tell them the name of it again.
Pure Sex.
Let's see. From Chicago with Love.
See, you had to plan this.
No, I promise I did not.
Because the movie I just told him about there was a prequel to that movie, and it's called Debbie Does Dallas. And instead of it happening in Chicago, it happens in Dallas, and it's almost the same thing. And if you've not seen it, you definitely want to see Debbie Does Dallas or Debbie in Dallas. I think it was released under two different names, but usually Debbie Does Dallas is the name. And I was talking about it before it come on, and I was like, hey, I heard they'd made it's a roundabout sequel. It's not, completely true to it about Chicago. And so I thought he was setting me up on that one. And so, wow, I'm like the whole synchronicity.
Is this for real?
There is a movie called that, but I wouldn't recommend that you watch it.
Okay.
Huh. Maybe we've seen different movies, Goose, because this one sounds a lot like that. HD the Y says Debbie's 80 years old now. I will tell you a story really quick. Thank you very much, Christy. I definitely appreciate that. Christy asked, is Mother Goose watching soft porn? No, she's not. I guess about as soft as it gets for you is what? Just sitting on the washing machine during the spin cycle? Never mind, Mom. Don't answer that. But what I was about to tell you all is about 10 years ago, she took my son and my nephew, who were, they would have been like 12 at the time, 11 and 12. She wanted to take them to the movies and do something nice. So she takes them out to eat and to the movies, and then they stay all night with her. So the next day she calls me. She's like, it went really good. We had a really good time. I said, oh, really? What did you see? Well, we were going to see this cartoon movie. And, my son, I won't say his name. We'll just call him Dan. He said, yeah, we'll just call him DJ for David Jr. She said, DJ said, hey, Granny, here's a movie about a teddy bear. Let's go watch this. So guess what movie that my mom takes him to see?
The other grandson was wanting to see the same movie. Both of them. Talked me right into it.
So guess what movie they go into my mom with? Hey, exactly. So my mom's like, I saw this little teddy bear and thought it was sweet. And she was like, as soon as that movie started, you should have heard the talk that little bear was saying. She's like, and I thought, I've got to get my grandsons out of here. She said, but then I looked over at both of them and they're just laughing and cracking up. And I thought, well, they're a little bit older. Surely to goodness, it'd be okay if they watched this movie. I said, yeah, Mom, that was fine, I said, what did you think about it? She said, well, after a few minutes, I started watching it, and I was laughing out loud, too. That was a pretty good movie.
It is a great movie.
Yeah. Didn't they make a another one like it?
They made a part 2. There is a. I will have to send you my login stuff for the Peacock app. Get you to download it because there's actually a TV show that they made of it that's just on the app, and it is really funny as well. So.
Oh. Wow.
Did you wait in the lobby? No, she did not get up and go wait in the lobby. So.
No.
Oh, but Mom.
Right there. And they watched me more than they watched the movie because they know they'd done a really good, funny little thing on there.
Yeah. They pulled one on her. So
yeah,
it was extremely funny.
It was.
Oh, but Mom, we're going to end this. I love you very much. You have a great night, and we look forward to having you on the show. Let me look really quick because I will tell everyone.
I think it's the 4th.
I think it is the 4th as well. But let me look. Like I said, you'll be on with Mr. Rich Newbuck.
The 4th is a Sunday. It's the first Sunday of February.
So it is. You will be back on. Let's see. Well, I'm going through my little planner book here. Yes, February 4th. So you will be on with us up on panel. So be sure to, at least brush your hair before you come up this time. Because you scared some people like what? Huh? What?
No, I did.
You did not. You did not.
I probably did because I was just, down and having a lot of problems.
Well, no, Mom, stop that. You are fine. I'm just giving you shit like I always do. Did you see Ted 2? The movie?
No.
Okay. Well, you need to watch that one. That one's got a really good opening scene. So.
I don't know if I'll watch it or not.
Well, you need to.
Yeah, I wouldn't steer you wrong. It's good.
They make, yeah. See, I thought that said Mother Goose. Yeah, digital. Well, I actually have one, but I had some other stuff in it as I was scrolling past. But again, I love you, Mom. You have a good evening. I just wanted to read you what Lori from the UK sent in. So I thought that you would love to hear that.
Okay. Oh, that is so sweet and kind.
Well, just remember, no matter how cold it gets, I'll always come up and see you in the attic.
Okay.
All right. Love you.
You promise?
I promise.
Okay.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Love you, Mama Goose.
Bye, Justin. Can I say Justin?
Yeah. Well, his name's in the show, Goose and Justin. So.
Yeah. Nobody likes me, so you can say whatever you want.
Oh, everybody loves you, Justin.
No, my mommy didn't like me. I love you, though.
Yeah, I love you, too.
All right, you hang up now.
Take care.
All right.
Okay.
Bye. Hey.
Bye.
Hey.
What?
Bye.
What?
Bye.
Bye.
Huh?
Hey.
Huh?
Hey.
Bye.
Hey. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
All right, bye. Hey, Mom.
Hey.
Mom.
Yeah.
You have a good night.
Okay.
All right.
Love
bye.
you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Mom. I think she hung up that time. Mother Goose, thank you very much for joining us, Mom. Nada, I am. She is. I am very fortunate, and she always had a good sense of humor too. Well,
she doesn't have a choice.
Well, yeah, she didn't have a choice. But there was one time that I took an F on a report card. So these were the actual cards that they wrote on, and I switched it to an A, and she played along. She knew that I had done that, but she's like, this looks a little bit funny. The morning that she signed it, that I'm going to school. And I'm like, no, it's fine. What are you talking about? She didn't think that was too funny. That got me a little bit in trouble. Thank you very much, Crimson. Hey, Bella, welcome in. Oh, Justin, do you want to go ahead and read the next email?
Yes, I do. Sorry. I was sleeping on last night. Last name Sloan sent this.
Oh, wait. She's calling back in. Okay. Hello, how are you?
She butt dialed you.
Did you see David?
Hey.
Dancing.
What? Did you butt dial me?
No.
Okay.
Did you see David dancing?
Oh,
Did I see him dancing?
No. Oh, okay. I know what she's. No.
Did you see?
He did not. And thank you very much for calling back and letting people know that.
Yes.
Oh, guys, don't hang up, David. Don't hang up. Everyone, go to.
No. I will get the clip and show it to everyone.
Oh, good.
I will show it to everyone.
He danced, and he had some moves. Let me tell you.
Oh, I don't like you anymore.
What?
I'm just joking with you.
Wasn't that good? He did so good. He did. He would do anything for that little grandson, and his grandson thinks that the moon sets on him. Now,
I kind of feel the same way about him. He has that effect on people.
Who does? You?
He does.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just wanted to call back. And
well, now you've got people laughing at me in the
clip.
chat, so I hope you're happy.
Yeah, I am.
I can tell.
But yeah, just to make sure he does that.
I will.
I will. I promise I will. I will.
Okay, everybody make sure. Telling you want to see it.
Let's see. HD the Y says, wow. To come see the dancing goose, just 50 cents. No, I'm going to have to explain it here in a few moments. I will show the video since asshole here called back. I shouldn't have answered it. So, let's see. Christy Yant says,
Thank you for
love her laugh. That tickled me. Well, you're very welcome. But I will pull that up here in just a moment.
You all enjoy.
All right. Love you. I'll explain everything here in just a moment. Bust a move. Well, you are going to get, you all will probably get a laugh out of it. She was really close to giving out my full legal name there, telling everybody to go to a different social media account. That's why I was like, whoa, stop. So, but I will, thank you very much, Outer Limits. I will pull that up here in just a moment while Justin is reading the email. Let me go ahead and send it onto my computer. Justin, take it away, my friend.
Okay, this is last name Sloan. I've been listening to your podcast for a long time, and I remember an episode you recently mentioned. He talks about a listener named Adam whose grandfather worked for NASA. I was wondering if there have been any recent updates. I lost it. Any recent updates on Adam's grandfather with further stories that he may have shared with you? Also, does he still email you guys with interesting stories or tidbits? It would be awesome to hear more about that, Roswell. Well, his grandfather's still dead. I'm joking, Adam. Please don't get upset about this. Now, that was actually before I come on, and I remember the first time he emailed. I thought that was a really interesting email.
He has not emailed since his last email, and even his last email, thank you very much, Christy. I definitely appreciate that. And even his last email, he wasn't as open like he was when, and I think I told everyone after his second or third email, I was looking on the Pandora app. That's when we first got on Pandora, and there was a spot that was right in just outside of Groom Lake, where Area 51 was at, where two people had been listening. So after that, I have heard from him, but not in reference to the show, and he's not emailed back. So.
He may have just got tired of the show. Well, I've noticed that since I came along, a lot of people quit listening.
No, brother, you are.
No, I get a lot of emails all the time. Like, hey, you ruined that show. And I'm like,
dude, I told you, hell, I've sent you numbers here not long ago.
Yeah, and I called those people and they don't want me on their show. So I have to stay on your show. So they won't take me either. I've called everybody you've told me. Nobody's taking me. Here's Douglas.
Let's see here. I'll go ahead and read this email, and then after Justin reads his, then I'll show you a video that my mom's talking about here. I actually thought she butt dialed me. If I knew she was going to do that, I would have answered the phone. But let's see. This one is from Obi. Now, it's been a while since Obi's wrote, and he is from Africa. Hello, Goose and Justin. Hit his eye, Obi from Africa. I hope that you both are having a fantastic day. I still enjoy the show and need a quick conversation with Justin. I wanted to ask Justin, when can we expect to do more of his phone calls that he fools people? Those calls make me laugh. Sincerely, Obi.
I love doing them. It's really just like, I mean, we don't not do them on purpose. No. We just get started and have so much fun that it's the last thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean,
and plus, it's Sunday. Like that limits us on who we can call to. Like it makes it a little harder on who I answer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and we've been going 51 minutes right now. So
we haven't made it to the emails yet.
We've not even got it to the subject yet. So. And Justin's probably going to have to go pee here in just a little bit because
I think I got a good 10 minutes in me.
Oh, okay. So wait. You have another good 10 minutes in you.
Yeah, I got another.
No, how time it is?
I mean, that is be a good guess. I don't know. I feel constantly feel like I have to pee, so I have to figure out how much longer I can fight that urge.
Okay, got you.
But actually, I've done pretty good. It's getting better. Okay. It is. I stay better hydrated. It's got better.
Okay. Well, do you want to go ahead and read that last email, and I'll pull.
Let's see
what she said up here.
This is from Steven. Steven says, hello, Goose and Justin.
Wait. Sorry, my bad. All right, go ahead.
I just wanted to send a quick email to check in on Goose. Last week's show ended abruptly, and that's the first time I think that's ever happened. Is everything okay? Myself and other listeners genuinely care about both of you, so please let us know if there is anything we can do to support you, Roswell. If you just happen to be tuning in right now, he had a tremendously bad hemorrhoidal flare-up. And he came over. I put Crisco. Crisco works really good. I take 2 fingers, and then onto the hemorrhoidal area, I rubbed the Crisco like this and got it in there good. And then me and him sat down and Netflixed and chilled.
I have no idea. No, who was that one from? That email.
Steven.
Thank you very much, Steven. Yeah, like I said, everything was fine back home, and I should have probably said that, but I was what really kind of threw me off my game was someone texted me that never texts me unless something's bad happens. So that kind of threw me off a little bit and so forth. Okay, the dancing is coming up. Exactly. Let me set this up for you and explain it. So earlier in the week, I took my grandson to see the Harlem Globetrotters, who had a blast. He had never, and I'll give you an example. And he did not learn this from me. He has learned stuff from me, but not this. I was with some friends, or he was around me and some of my friends a couple of weeks ago, and someone had said something. We were talking about power tools, and someone said something that had a lot of power. So I naturally said, that's what she said. So my grandson's like, I was getting ready to say that. So then somebody said something else about cutting wood and so forth, that there wasn't a mess. And guess what my grandson said, who's 6 years old? That's what she said. So I'm like, where did you learn that? Your mother's going to kill me. And he's like, no, I learned it from my dad. I'm like, okay. So I take him to this Harlem Globetrotters basketball game. And we were fortunate. We were blessed. We got really good seats right up front. And before the game started, I bought like this little special pass where he could go out and get autographs and meet them and, shoot on the floor and all this. So I got a really good picture of him with one of the Harlem Globetrotters in the background dunking the ball. And so as some people that were with the show come up, they were talking to my grandson, and I showed them this picture, and they're like, oh, that's really neat. And they're like, do you want to be in the show? I'm like, well, what do you mean? What do I have to do? He's like, oh, there's this skit where we take somebody in the crowd's shoe, and all you have to do is just walk out and just, he'll put your shoe back on. It's like Cinderella. That's what I was told. Okay. So you already know what's coming, don't you? So, and they told me they're like, hit will be like just a few minutes before halftime. So I went ahead and I had to wear shoes I don't normally wear just because my grandson had, red and black Nikes on. He wanted me to wear a pair of red and black Nikes that were brand new. I got for Christmas. I hadn't, usually I like to break stuff in and stuff. I hadn't even had a chance to do it. So they were a little bit tight. So, I went ahead and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So I untied my shoe and this, and this will be easier, for the skit to get off. So when I walk out to the middle of the floor, guess what happens? Dancing with a Harlem Globetrotter. Now, I did not know this until I got back. My 6-year-old grandson had filmed everything with his iPhone. So here is the video that my Mother Goose was talking about.
Oh, there we go.
So that was the video my mother was talking about. So
I'm jealous.
That was totally spur of the moment. I had no clue I was going to be doing that. I get out on the floor, and after he puts my shoe on, he's like, "Are you ready to dance now?" I'm like, "Hell yeah." No clue, So yeah, that is awesome. My grandson, he laughed so hard over that. And when I come back, he calls me Pops. He's like, "Pops, I recorded that on my cell phone." I'm like, "Did you really?" He's like, "Yeah, I've already been texting it to people." And I'm like, "Gee, thanks a lot, grandson." But I mean, hey, it was all fun. It was fun. We had a good time. So hey, Mr. 12 Point, welcome in. Let me ask you a question really quick, Justin, before we move on here. The music that was in that, do you think this would affect our live stream or anything? I was trying to turn it down as it started there. So
no, I don't think they like. What do you got to have like?
Well, yeah,
that they can understand.
Yeah,
and it took me a minute to see which version it was. So yeah,
got you. Hey, Mr. 12 Point, always great to have you in the chat, my friend. I am good. You just missed Mother Goose. She was really mean to me and
very abusive.
She was very abusive, and it brought back memories of my childhood. And
he's cried for a good 10 minutes.
She made me show a video of me dancing with my grandson, or dancing as I took my grandson to a Harlem Globetrotters game. But anyway, it was a lot of fun. So don't forget Mike 12 Point 2024. We're going to move on and talk about, let me bring it up here and I will hit the pause button. Now, this is Operation High Jump that we're going to start off talking about. And it happened in Antarctica in 1947. Now, the year 1947 has always fascinated me for the simple fact was that on July 8th, 1947 was the Roswell crash. Justin, what do you know about this particular military mission or so forth?
Before doing research this week, I knew about his interview and him saying about planes that could make it from pole to pole. I knew about the visitation with these creatures, and it was all supposedly from a diary that he had wrote, and that the name Operation High Jump was part of an American program, and that most of our information had come supposedly from disclosed American files.
You are correct. Now, there's actually some controversy if this diary is real. There's a couple of different stories. One of them claims that it was found by his son, who we will mention towards the end of the segment. And another one claims that it was found by some professors at Ohio State University when they were going through some documents and so forth. So, the diary may not even be real. It could be. I think personally, from what I have researched on this, and I'm going to go over, once you start talking about this, some of the other things that I discovered later on, like Thursday, Friday, they were connected to other things that we've talked about on the show before. Now, for anyone that thinks the government's telling us the whole truth and nothing but the truth, I really feel sorry for you. I wish that was the case. I do not think it is. Thank you very much, Mr. 12 Point. We definitely appreciate that, my friend. You can call me whatever you want to, brother. Let's see. I'm late again. Hey, but welcome. Glad you're here. So Operation High Jump. Let's start at the main beginning here. Antarctica was discovered in 1820. Now, the guy that you see on the back screen here on the that's beside me and Justin is Richard Byrd, and his picture is coming up. That is Admiral Richard Byrd. He was the youngest person ever appointed admiral, and he first flew over Antarctica in 1929, November 28th, 1929. Now, he came back, and convinced the government to pay for Operation High Jump, which originally was supposed to have ran from August of 46 to late February the end of March, 1st of April of 47. Now, he flew over Antarctica with no problem. One of the things that I find funny is people can't fly over Antarctica today. There's a no-fly zone through the FFA and through, other countries, their version of the FFA. You can't fly over Antarctica because they say it's not safe because of the turbulence and this and that. Well, he did it in 1929. Think about our technology now compared to what he used to fly over Antarctica.
Well,
he up a big red flag.
He was supported by ships and supported by long range aircraft. It's not illegal to have a approved flight over.
Well,
it's illegal to take a plane not big enough to make it across Antarctica, because if you crash in the middle of Antarctica, which you will do, you're looking at something bigger than North America. So bigger than America. So if you crash in the middle of it, they're going to expect somebody to come get you, like they had to go get the millionaires that went down to the Titanic, even though it was their choice to go down there. So they still had the government to send somebody after it. And that's a hard task to do. So I had read the same thing you had read, and maybe that's just a BS explanation, but that explanation made sense to me. That's because people fly over it all the time, especially research aircraft and stuff. And, countries we're not exactly friends with fly over it all the time. Stop them.
There are planes that fly over it. Guess who those planes are sponsored by, and guess who funds a lot of the scientific missions there, for not just for our country but for other countries?
I'd say NASA would be my
Lockheed Martin.
Oh, NASA. Because at this point, Lockheed pretty well owns them.
But Apple Creek says they be hiding something. I really think that they are, because number one, like I said, he flew across it in 1929 in whatever version of aircraft that he had. Today's planes are a lot better. I think that they can do it no problem.
We don't have any private planes that could make it from the closest point to Antarctica, because you can't take off from Antarctica unless you're in Antarctica. So the closest point from Antarctica to fly across Antarctica, you can't make it without a refuel. But there's a lot of dumb people out there. That's why we no longer. But there's a lot of brave people too. Like Amelia Earhart. I don't think Amelia Earhart was dumb. I think she was brave, and they tried something. But I thought, like, you can't fly across it. It's not, like, even if it wasn't illegal, you can't do it. So it like you could partially go up and come back. And I don't know the legality of that, but we don't have a commercial plane, or not a commercial, a private plane, because you're looking at, research vessels and stuff that can, basically you need an aircraft carrier to get you close enough to where, or you refuel in air with long range planes to make it across Antarctica. Well, it's a massive piece of land.
Here is what the government says. The FFA says why you can't fly, over Antarctica. Harsh weather conditions, unforgiving weather, characterized by extreme temperatures, unpredictable storms, and blinding blizzards. These conditions not only increase the risk of flight disruptions, but also demand specialized equipment and pilot training, adding to operational cost. That is their reason why you can't fly over Antarctica in 2024. But he did it in 1929. Now that's their recommendations, why not to do it. But he did it in 1929.
But like at the beginning of the show with that interview, they had to build bases and land and fly in spurts.
And he did it, and I can't remember if he talked about like a coal reservoir and stuff. Was that in that clip, or did you hear that anywhere?
Not if it did, it might have been before I come back, because I went to the bathroom halfway through.
All right. But we're going to talk about his flight log, and that was in his. We're going to talk about his flight log / what he put in his diary. Now, the morning we're going to be discussing is February 19th, 1947. 6:00 a.m. He writes, all preparations are complete, are flying northward, and we are airborne with four full fuel tanks at 6:10 hours. So he writes a few more things. I've got some stuff marked here. I'm not going to dictate, all of it. But at 8:30, he says turbulence encountered again. We increase altitude to 2,900 feet. Smooth flight conditions again. At 9:10 a.m. Vast ice and snow below. Note collaborations of yellow nature and dispense and linear pattern. Now he's talking about yellow icebergs. There's different color icebergs now because whatever chemicals, when the water froze, that's why you've got red icebergs, pink, blue, striped, yellow. And he's talking about this for the first time in 1947, February 19th, 1947. We alter the course for a better examination of this color pattern. Okay, so they continue along, and just a few, exactly at the same time as they notice this color pattern, he writes both magnetic and gyro compasses beginning to gyrate and wobble. We are unstable and can't hold our heading by instruments. We take a bearing by a sun compass. All seems well. The conditions are seemingly slow to respond. He's talking about the controls of the plane. They're slow to respond, and he's having to struggle with them. No indication of icing. So everything with the plane at this point seems, normal. So at 10 a.m., he writes, we are crossing over a small mountain range and still proceeding northward as best we can. Beyond the mountain range is what appears to be a valley with a small river or stream running through the center portion. There should be no green valley below. Something is definitely wrong and abnormal here. We should be over the ice and snow. To the port side, there is a great forest growing on the mountain slopes. Our navigation instruments are spinning. The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth. What do you think about that so far, Justin?
That is from the Lost, not the actual, the first set of diaries of the military. That's from the Lost. There's very little released from the actual diaries, but there's a lot of his writings released. And I've read that passage from the book. Basically, he got the book on whatever it's called, the Google version, or not audio books or regular books.
Right. So this is his official flight log.
No, it's not. That is from, and that was one of the things that I had always thought, but it's not. That's from the new diary. And if you read how it's written, like, and you look at how it's written, like, and I'm not the first, like, I'm not the one that came up with this, but just me, if you read stuff that I wrote, you can tell I wrote it, even if it's a different style of writing from what I've written, especially with punctuation. Even if I'm writing a story, like a short story and stuff, there's things about the way I write that won't change. And that's pretty indicative of most people. And the way that he wrote is very similar to the way that he talked. Very matter of fact, very frank. Like with the point, when you get to the point where he sees the woolly mammoth, all the exclamation points and stuff in the hundreds and hundreds of documents he wrote before that, and in the other field notes and stuff they have from non-top secret stuff that he had done, never had he done that. There's nothing similar about the way that's written to anything he'd ever written in his life. That is very similar, because when that book of the Lost Diary came out, there was a foreword written to that book. And the gentleman that wrote the foreword to that book was a science fiction author. Okay. He was part of the guys that got that book together and got it out. It's very similar to the way he writes. And it does jump a lot in first person and speaking as a group and speaking as a singular, whereas his generally doesn't. His speaks as a team or just as him. But once you get, and I assume you're going to make it to the point where you go down and he speaks to the people and stuff. When I actually read the original version of that story, it's a story told between the llama and a lost civilization of people from under earth that come out well before that. And when I read that, and a lot of these experts say that that's where that story had come from, that it had been stolen, it very heavily been plagiarized from, and I would agree that it has been, and put in that diary. That was the thing that and Snark Ass, I think, is like me, is a big Y-Files fan, and that it's their episode come out the same week that we went to do this one, and everything that I had found, once you go to his notes, and like if you're one of his Patreon members and get the notes and stuff he's got, that's where I found a lot of the stuff, a lot of Admiral Byrd's family talking about it and stuff, and talking about it. But to me, like, I had read a lot of the stuff that you had read, and I took it to be something, and I could be wrong. I mean, who knows? Well, maybe that's exactly what it is. I don't know.
There's a lot of his family that says this didn't happen, and I'm not saying it happened. But I want to present all of this and then come back at the end and see what you guys think. And then I'll tell you what I think. Would I like to think that this is real and it's actually happened? Hell yeah, I would. Yeah. But I'll tell you why, as we go through, why I find things a little bit fishy. Now, as you said, and I'll skip down to the part, the radio stops functioning. Whoops, at a certain time. At 11:30 a.m., countryside below a more level and normal, if I may use that word. Ahead, we spot what seems to be a city. That's impossible. Aircraft seems light and oddly buoyant. The controls refuse to respond. My God, off the port starboard wings is a strange type of aircraft. They are rapidly closing alongside. There is a disc-shaped and they have a radiant quality to them. They are close enough to see the markings on them. It looks like a type of swastika. This is fantastic. Where are we? What has happened? I tug the controls again, and they will not respond. We are caught in an invincible vice grip of some type. Now, before that, he does claim at 10:05 that he sees a woolly mammoth, that it's 74 degrees outside, and this was before this happened. So what's your thoughts on that, Justin? Because you touched on the other things just a little bit there. That's something that's took control of his ship. I
mean, like, it's an interesting thing. Like, you know, I guess if you're looking at it from, if I, like, when I thought that there's might have been some validity to it, I don't think I ever believed that part.
Okay.
Like, if the Nazis that far advanced, they would have beat us.
Okay. Well, we're going to get to that point.
Yeah.
What would you say in just a moment if I could show you a declassified document from the FBI vault that talks about people in disc-shaped ships that they can pilot and others are by remote control? What would you say? Would you say that supports Admiral Byrd's diary facts or the?
Well, I mean, like, I've seen enough. Like, I mean, to be honest, no, because I've seen enough that I know the diary's not real.
Okay.
But now, do I believe that that's possible that those ships exist? Yes, 100%. I believe that it's possible that those exist. I just don't believe that this diary is real. But I'm not saying that, and I don't believe there's a secret base in Antarctica because there's not proof of that to me. But do I believe that there's, yeah, like if you showed me that they come up today and said that, and said, I'd go, okay, that's possible. Sounds to me like a drone, which, you know, that's what we're sending out to other planets, and we're millions of years behind, you know, a civilization that would be able to get here. So, you know, they would likely send something remote controlled to us, I would think.
You are correct.
I did see a lot of documentation that was, the Russians had a big interest in this, and they had a pretty good, a pretty good explanation of why, but they had but most of the disinformation that made it, that's what, like, it's not like I don't love it, but I guess, like, if there's anything about the Cold War Russians I liked, is their ability to just make stuff up and make their people just push it to America. And something like, they were such a threat, we had to believe some of the stuff they said. Right. But they have a lot more documentation on Operation High Jump than we do. You know, as far as the public, what the KGB had is now public, and that's a lot more information than we ever got to see from the American side. But you know, most of it's definitely, you know, if it got out, it's probably not true.
So, you know, after that happens and they're having radio problems, and I want to snark and sass, I agree with you. There's definitely something in Antarctica. I agree 110%. So after they take control of the plane, the radio crackles. There's a voice that comes through that's speaking English. It perhaps has a slight Nordic or German accent. The message basically says, "Welcome, Admiral, to our domain. We shall see you in 7 minutes. Relax, you're in good hands." And then he writes, "I know the engines of our plane have stopped running. The aircraft is under some strange control and is now turning itself. The controls are useless." So they talk back and forth until they land. Now, when they land, he goes and speaks with a guy named the Master. And I'm jumping ahead just a moment. So at 11:45, I am hastily making my last entry in the flight log. Several men are approaching on foot towards the aircraft. Now, they have been pulled into a cavern that, you know, has people have claimed that it's inner Earth. That's where they were pulled to. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Absolutely. So as he's writing this in the flight log, he's talking about the men. Several men on foot coming towards our aircraft. They are tall with blonde hair. In the distance is a shimmering city with a pulsating rainbow hues of colors. I don't know what's going to happen now, but I see no signs of weapons on these approaching. I hear a voice ordering me by name to open the cargo door. I comply in log. So that's where, you know, they get it, you know, and they're not talking, they're talking with their minds, and he's able to understand. Okay. I do want to point out, he says, let's see, blonde hair, tall. There is, and let's see, let me look down really quick. Okay. There was some passage I forgot to print off. We talked about how he's also, they're pale skin, blue eyes. So up on our little screen there, some people claim that he met and this is Antarctica, that you can't, and it's bigger than the United States in about 4 countries. This is a Palladian. Blonde hair, blue eyes, fair skin. That's a female Palladian. That's, like an artist rendering. It's not an actual picture. Female, and then here is a male. Now, during World War II, what was one of the things Hitler wanted to do?
Well, in his ignorance,
what was the kind of people that was like the perfect to him?
Well, he wanted to, what he called the Aryan race, and that word is mentioned in the in the actual diary, the missing diary part. The word Aryan is used a couple times, and he wanted to reinstate the Aryan race, and he wanted to do that under the swastika. Here's the weird part about that. And
did Hitler describe if they should have any color hair
or blue eyes, the perfect? Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
And, the story, the whole meeting between the master and Byrd, again, is a perfect retelling of this meeting between the Lama and this master, this underground master that he meets from Hollow Earth. Now, there's another very important part about that, because more than likely this, like the Vril Society and the Thrill, all that come from a lot of German BS that happened during and after the war. This more likely came from the same place, this whole Admiral Byrd thing, for the same reason. Aryan people, and this was the lack of understanding that Hitler had. Hitler he listened to a lot of occultists who weren't very intelligent people, and they told him that Aryans, Nordics, Germans were called Aryans, and they were they're blonde-haired, blue eyes. Actually, Aryan people were from mainly Iran, but also parts of the northern Indian subcontinent. And he also took his belief in the Hollow Earth, and most of his hunt for the Hollow Earth happened in India, and his sign, the Nazi symbol, from India. So I assume that's where that where that confusion came from.
Right.
I don't know. But the fact that historically with scholars and with scientists and stuff, the word Aryan will never be used with blonde hair, blue eyes. And the same would go for a military thing. A military, like, that was a very commonly known thing. It wasn't commonly known to me. I'm not going to sit down and go, it was. I didn't know that till years ago. To me, I assumed Aryan was blonde hair, blue eyes, but I didn't realize that was taught in school. That was very well known before that. That's not what it was. Actually, it was kind of a lot of one of the things that Hitler was ridiculed over is his lack of knowledge of that. Mm-hmm. And the fact that made it into this was another thing that made me go, okay, well, maybe there's something there that I'm missing.
Okay. Now, let me go on to hit play here again. I'll have to, because it's not going to blow it up the exact same size.
Yeah.
Where you can read it, but I'll tell everyone where to find it. And, this may freak you out just a little bit. So getting past this Palladian brings us to this. And this, as you can see, it says the management of invasive alien species, forging cooperation in the Baltic/Nordic regions, Copenhagen, Denmark, May the 21st to the 23rd, 2001, a workshop report and final recommendations. Okay. I found that article on DOI.gov, the Department of Interior.gov. Now, to go on, a second page here, and I just took like 3 screenshots. This is basically, tells who edited it and what is recommended and so forth. And on this page, the first page, once you go past some like special thanks and who was on the board and all of that. Maybe I didn't put that one in there. Okay. But this third page here, when it starts off, it says invasive alien species, in quotation marks, is IAS, all capitalized, are non-native organisms that cause or have the potential to cause harm to the environment, economics, or human health. Invasive alien species are the ones, the most significant drivers of environmental change. Now, you can read some parts of that, and it talks about, oh, this is like global warming, this is this and that. You read a little bit more, and you're like, I wonder what they're really talking about meaning, because without saying the word alien or Pleiadians or anything like that, but they talk about like different species. They don't say plants, animals, just different species. Now, like I said, that was found on DOI.gov, G-O-V. Now, the Department of Interior are over, you may ask why it was, in the Department of Interior. Let me go back to where my note was at here just to make sure I'm telling you right. Because I think they're over like some of the land management as well.
They're not. They're like the Bureau of Land Management.
That's it.
But they also have some scientific issues, like very protected areas that are very fragile,
like Indian reservations, sacred places like the Grand Canyon, the Department of Interior. There we go. There's some places like some places in the out west with cactus and stuff that you can't actually walk on the dirt. And Bureau of Land Management, they'll handle more, a different side of that than Department of Interior will. They'll handle more stuff as like scientific studies and stuff like that. They handle Antarctica as far as the U.S. bases go. And if you watch I didn't recognize that when I first seen it. You showed it to me, and I did not recognize it. When you went to the second page, and I does not at all mean that that's what that is. But if you watch the documentaries where they go down and they stay, they like to test what, and it's very dangerous in my opinion. It's how we got the vid. They like to test how viruses and all these things behave in different environments and areas and stuff. And with Antarctica, it's very restricted on what you can take there. You're looking at the most pristine, cleanest. It's the only place we've not destroyed yet. Because, I mean, look, you can go up through eastern Kentucky and look in the creeks. There's more trash bags than there are trees and fish and IGA bags and stuff. It's one of the few places we haven't destroyed yet. And one of the places, a lot like you look at South America, you look at the Aztecs and the Mayans, and you look at this vast rainforest, and you look at the type of trees that are planted there. That's not what's native to there. People came through and butchered that place and planted basically crop trees. We have a habit of destroying things when we get to them. Now, I would say that by reading this, to me, it looks like mostly that would probably tend more towards animals and plants. But in devil's advocate, never really specifies that.
That's true. And if I'm playing devil's advocate, this is Antarctica. There's not a very good chance that a plant or an animal is going to last there. They're going to die.
No, well, all right.
You know what I mean? Like,
why wouldn't they say, penguins and cold wet? Why wouldn't they list the plants or the animals instead of just leaving it as an invasive alien species?
Well, and I Googled it, some reason I know, but like you put in that same terminology and it pops up for places everywhere. Nepal, managing invasive alien species to protect wild pollinators, prevent and management of invasive alien species, biological control of invasive alien species, management of, and all these are articles on plant and animal species coming in and being invasive in an area. It's scientific talk. They don't talk with the common sense that we talk. And that's not to say that that's what this is. It's two sheets. Like there's no way without seeing the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Know that. But there's I seen a couple of them guys, like if you go to Mammoth Cave, you're getting, especially your feet washed down good, going in and coming out, you know, I that's just me. I can't say that that's what I have no prior knowledge of that was. That's just a guess from me is all that is.
Well, I find that interesting that the Department of Interior and that literature said that. Now you can also search the Pleiadians. And if you search, I think, well, you don't even like the second or third thing down. If you just search the Pleiadians, there is a document from the Internal Revenue Service. So now I did glance through that. I was going to use it, but it's basically the way that I took it, and I was running out of time and I didn't like read through it like I should have. I glanced through it, but to me, it just basically sounded like someone was trying to teach the Palladians as a religion. And I know that they're people, they do that and stuff. But there's an IRS document, where they're corresponding back with someone.
Yeah.
I know that's, you could be like, oh, that's horseshit. That person's crazy. Why would they take time and money and waste resources to correspond back with someone in a very detailed letter? Now, like I said, you can Google the Palladians and you'll be able to find that. Moving on here. So Admiral Byrd has a conversation with the master where they talk about different things, and he basically tells him that if mankind does not change, they're going to destroy themselves. They're going to have, they want them to get rid of nuclear weapons. And that the master also says that in 1945, they tried to make contact but were fired upon, even though they were peaceful.
I believe that.
Huh?
I believe that. If they tried, we probably shot them. Now,
if you search UFO crashes of 1945, you're not going to find a lot, but there is one thing that's interesting. In 1945, a large avocado-shaped object struck a communications tower in a patch of New Mexico desert, now known as the Trinity site, where Justin, the first
bomb was went off. Yeah,
weapons, get rid of them. They tried to make contact in 1945. This crash happened in 1945. And if you go back to, even though this says avocado pear-shaped, Byrd's description of, let me flip through this really quick, of what he sees that's taking them in. Give me 1 second. Where did that go? If you have any thoughts, Justin, go ahead there while I'm trying to find this here.
Now you put me on spot. So I don't know.
Let's see, where was that at?
I'm trying to think of what I've read it 10 times this week.
Okay, it just says a strange craft, but you have a strange craft, and then you have an avocado shape that crashes 1945, just as this, the master allegedly told Admiral Richard Byrd, Richard Byrd. I just think that corresponds with what is in the alleged flight log diary, whatever. It corresponds, okay. There's other corresponding things here that we're going to touch on. Did that really kind of shock you, Justin? Because you were at a level, I've never heard you be at a loss for words before.
Well, not like I was trying to think of what they explained it as. Like, if you're asking me, do I think it's possible that in 45 they tried to stop us from atomic weapons? Yes, I do. Mm-hmm. And like I do think that's possible. That wouldn't surprise me. I'm like you and thinking that that's kind of the point when they really got interested in us, and I could understand why. It makes us somewhat of a threat. Right. But all of this thing was found and written. And again, once you read that story, and I didn't read all of it, once you read the story with the llama, you're like, oh, okay. It takes you so far out of it.
What is the best way to cover something up if you want to make something look fake?
Well, that's the thing. This is a modern thing.
Okay, all right.
It was never covered up before.
Right. Let me give you a what if. What if people knew what was in the diary? Let's play devil's advocate and say it was real. They knew this was in the diary. The diary had not been seen by many people. It was not published. So why don't we take what is in a diary and we get some guy that we get and we tell him to write this and submit it, and we'll get it published for him, and we put it out. So what is going to look fake then?
Yeah, but I mean, like this, there's a
possibility.
And that's true. That is possible. But like, what was his quote about pole to pole flight?
That it could be done in less than an hour, I think. So
it was never said. He did an interview when he come in South America. He did an interview, and in Spanish. It's
funny, Joe.
And, they done it. I'm sorry about that. That was for work. They done the interview, and what he said was, I think it's important, and this is just paraphrasing. I think it's important that we cover the polls and basically we go and look, because we're at a point now, especially with Russia, who is very close to not South Pole, but Alaska and stuff. But to be at both poles of the Earth, we could have an enemy come from either one at any point in time. It never said that there was, and nobody ever thought that was never thought to have been said until 80s, whenever it was, when some UFO researcher poorly translated that. And the original was there. It's not like it's ever changed. The original's there. It's been there since he come back. It's the only interview he done until he talked to the Americans. And he come in and he done the interview, and he was very matter of fact and to the point about it. It looked like he was trying to hide anything. But that never got said. But those types of things, and that happens every time I look at something with this case. It's a matter of, it was never thought before. And then there's this point when this guy, this author of science fiction, just like L. Ron Hubbard, when he come up with, he is a prolific science fiction writer who come up with religion. This guy, not a prolific science fiction writer, not a very good science fiction writer, but a science fiction writer, comes up and he writes this story or this intro to this, and then he writes something that's very out of character. No one's ever seen of it, heard of it. No one's ever admitted to its existence. No one of any merit has ever said, yeah, I heard about that or I knew about it. And they know where he stole things from, and they know where things were misquoted at, but because we want to believe it. And that was why I believed it for some, because I wanted to believe it. I never looked into it, that misquote was the thing that just like, it was like a punch in the gut. Like you see that and you're like, that was never, and I have repeated that quote. I didn't ask you because I didn't know the quote. I asked you to have you say it. I've heard you repeat it. I've repeated that quote 100 times. It was never said that. There was never any confusion about how it was said until this all started.
Well, we will get to a point here in just a moment where you can see basically what I said, and it will explain everything. So basically, he talks to the master, and at like 2:20 p.m., they get back in the air. They make contact with their base. The radio contacts back. They actually land at 3 o'clock, and in it says, "We land smoothly at base camp. I have a mission." Now, the next log entry, see. Now, and this could be a flight log with a diary thing, together or whatever. But this one states, on March the 11th, 1947, I have just attended a staff meeting at the Pentagon. I have stated fully my discovery and the message from the master. Let's see. All is duly recorded. The president has been advised, and I am now detained for several hours. 6 hours, 39 minutes to be exact. I am interviewed by top secret forces, given medical and a medical team. It was an ordeal. I am placed under strict control via national security provisions of the United States of America. I am, and this is all capitalized, ordered to remain silent in regard to all that I have learned on behalf of humanity. Then it says, incredible. I am reminded that I am a military man and I must obey orders. And again, that was on March the 11th, 1947. Keep in mind, March the 11th. Okay. Now that was in his diary. Allegedly, that was not a flight log. That was a diary, but March the 11th. So Admiral Byrd died of a heart attack in his sleep at the age of 68 on March 11th, 1957, at his home and in Boston. He's buried in the Arlington National Cemetery. 10 years later, he passes away. Now, I know we've joked before. There is a real thing called a heart attack gun. I know we've made jokes, but you can look this shit up. Now, in the 70s, it was confirmed. It was real. I mean, 20 years earlier, who knows if it was real or if it was not real. But he died at age 68, March 11th, 1957. Okay, so before, let's see here. Give me 1 second. Do you have anything to say about that, Justin?
Well, now that is something, and from the minute he left South America, that he was adamant about. It was top secret, and he wasn't talking about it. He wasn't allowed to talk about it, and,
Right.
and he never publicly spoke about it again. Like, he was true to his word,
Right.
and it make, like, that is one of those things I think always makes people suspicious. Like, why is a trip to Antarctica? And if it hadn't been during the Cold War, I would have been a lot more suspicious of it. And I think that's kind of just a generic answer. It's kind of the answer we get for everything. Well, it's Cold War. Well, it was Russia. But, most of the things that, like, the people that, most of the things that people that more lean towards just being true, most of the things that they believe actually came from Soviet files. They didn't come from American files. And so, I guess then you just play devil's advocate. Are they telling more of a truth than the Americans? Are they not? I don't know. But it's funny to me. Like I said, I mean, it definitely was a top secret thing. They didn't let him speak a word about it.
So, hey, Hillbilly, welcome in, my friend. We're doing good. We're having a deep discussion, and I'm trying to convince Justin that there could be something in Antarctica that we have that is secret, and some of Richard Byrd's stuff could be true. Now, his son, he was a lieutenant. He was on the 1947 mission with his dad. His name was Richard Evelyn Byrd III. He passed away on October 3rd, 1988, at the age of 68 years old. Now, in some of the stories, he is the one that found the diary, not the Ohio State University, like I said earlier. It was his son, and he had showed it to a few people. Now, do you know anything about his son's death, Justin?
No, I don't. But now, that's a lot of what I've seen did say he had it. I couldn't find any clear lineage until the publishing company got the book with the forward written to it. I can't find anybody that really, I don't know who got paid for it. The guy that wrote the forward got paid, and the publishing company got paid, but his son didn't make a dime off of it.
No. Or the family. They did not make anything.
Well, everything I read, none of them ever thought it was real.
No. Okay. Now, the son, Richard, his body was found in a warehouse in Baltimore, Maryland. He had gone missing since September 13th, 1988. So he'd been missing a little bit over a month. After being placed on a train in Boston, bound for Washington, D.C., where he was going to speak at the National Geographic Society event honoring the 100th anniversary of his father's birth, but he never arrived. His cause of death was dehydration and malnutrition, which resulted from Alzheimer's disease. Now, number one, if you're put on your train by your son, which this man was put on a train in Boston by his son, if he had Alzheimer's disease, would you send your father off by himself?
No.
The family never heard, no one ever told them their dad had Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's disease. He had missed a few appointments and forgotten birthdays, basic stuff like anybody would.
Yeah.
Now, he allegedly had a diary with him and a suitcase. None of that stuff was found. Okay. So, and you can try to find out who did the autopsy report on this man, because there was two of them. You cannot find that information anywhere. That was just a tidbit I wanted to throw out at you.
And that is a weird. I'm like you. If my dad's got Alzheimer's, unless he was a real dick growing up, I'm not putting him on that train bus. And if he was a complete asshole, yeah, I'm probably going to put him up. And I'm going to say, whatever you do, say the Red Sox suck the whole time you're in Boston. Yeah. And if he was a dick, but my dad was a good guy, so I'm not putting him on there.
Nobody is going to put their parents with Alzheimer's on a train by themselves if they do not think that they can function. Nobody is. And he's found in a warehouse. Come on, man. No.
It's suspicious.
Very suspicious. Okay. So this brings us up to, let's see, the year 1947. It brings us to July 8th, 1947. And on that day, we had the famous Roswell crash. Everyone knows, Jesse Marcel found this, and it was material that they hadn't seen before. It was flame resistant. They just hadn't saw it before. None of it. Okay. So, okay. Now let me pull that back up. Sorry. My bad. At the stage. So, and like I said, this is not going to be big enough for you to see, but this is memorandum 6751. You can Google this. It will tell you, you'll be able to partly read it. It is a really old document. But this article or this memo was classified for 60 years. And you can see right here on the screen, 6751, the second thing down, the date that it was written was July 8th, 1947. I had looked at this before. We talked about it on the show. I had remembered the same date, but I don't think I ever talked about it, that particular date on the show before. This memo was classified for over 60 years, and it was sent to an FBI field office the same day of the Roswell crash. Now, if you skip on through parts of this, now there's going to be parts of this that you can trace back to General Byrd. Let me see if this is one of them here. Just bear with me. Okay. This is like in the third paragraph. A very serious situation may develop at any time with regard to the flying saucers. If one of those should be attacked, the attacking planes will almost certainly be destroyed. In the public mind, this might create near panic and an international suspicion. The principal data concerning this craft is now at hand and must be offered. So what's your take on that? Same day. I mean, this was, like I said, this was an FBI memo. So right here.
So I just wonder if they shot it down first and then went, well, that's probably not a good idea. Let's tell them not to do that again.
Okay.
Or if this was pertaining to a separate UFO incident besides Roswell, and it may be an indication of two different things, or Roswell may be a symptom of whatever happened to make them write this memo, because they had to know we don't want to screw with these things.
Okay.
Otherwise, they don't write this memo. So that's very, very interesting.
Okay. What if they know about these things because of what Admiral Byrd told them?
That's possible.
Just 2 years before.
There's a lot of other stuff that, like, that's the thing about this document is from that year, and there's other cases that happen closer to that year. Mm-hmm. We're talking about something that just come out of the blue decades and decades and decades later with very little strength or validity to it. Like they're like this, I find interesting because this links to like Roswell, and this may be inside. Look, everybody knows I'm crazy, so you should never put any stock in anything I say, but I have no questions over Roswell. I really believe that it is a downed UFO. I do, but I believe that there's at least enough substantial. I don't believe there's a lot of hard evidence there, but there's enough substantial evidence and a strong enough story and everything there. Whereas with the Byrd thing, nothing adds up to me. Like I don't, and it did for years. I'm not going like it did for you. It was this time. It was very serendipitous, and it may be, it may be something I should be more suspicious of. It was a lot easier to find information this time, and then two different, a podcaster and a YouTube, both that I very much enjoy, had episodes about this. One before I ever knew we were going to talk about it, and the second while I was doing the research, and come up with a lot of things that I had to go back and look into that I didn't realize was true. So yes, I do find that very interesting, but I don't see a connection to it and Byrd. But I can see what you're saying. Like
Right.
maybe that is why they knew, because maybe this is legit and he did see this ahead of time.
Right. This one here, I just, highlight some things. It says that, they're from their own world and they're visitors in the craft. Now, because let's see. And let me go back to the
craft also. I can't get that word after also.
Which one? Craft.
Yeah, I see what you were talking about. No.
There's a different part there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. I think that was it there. Let's see. The bodies of the visitors and the craft also automatically materialize on entering the vibratory rate of our matter. I know that's confusing as hell and shit. Okay, but going back to, let me see here. Okay, let me go back to the end here, and I'll point out right here. This one that's highlighted. And again, anyone please feel free to pull this up for themselves. Just search memo 6751, and that will bring you right to it. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, I'm fat fingering everything back here. True Texan, I'm doing good, brother, and I hope that you are too. Please be safe in your state. I know that the federal government's not really happy with Texas right now, but I am, my friend. But going down to these numbers that I've highlighted here, they say part of the disc. Let's see, part of the disc carry others. Okay, part of the disc, basically you can drive yourself or remote control. What happened to General Byrd's plane? It was something took a hold of it, and it was guided with a remote control. Yeah. The second one says their mission is peaceful. The visitors, they're not hostile to people. The visitors are human-like, but largely, now I can't make it what the other word says, but they're human-like. The Palladians were human-like. And it basically, there's one point here where, and I did not highlight that, but I think it mentioned uranium. And I did not have this, I didn't get this document either. I apologize. But you go back to some of the documents about when Antarctica was like off limits and it was all scientific and they weren't going to do any damage. It mentions mining uranium. So you have that. Now, do you have anything to say about that, Justin?
I mean, like I said, that's a very interesting document. I don't tie it to Byrd, but it is a very interesting. And I went back and looked at it, and I'll have to look at it later, but FBI.gov, UFOs and the Guy Motel memo.
Yeah.
But now this one's from March 22nd, 1950, but somehow it's tied in to that.
Yes, it is.
That's pretty neat. I'm gonna go check that out.
I'm going to have to take a break really quick, Justin. I'll be back. Let me throw this up. You guys are watching Here to Chew Bubblegum. We'll be back momentarily. Just let's see. Where'd our break? Hang tight. We'll be right back. And welcome back. Dude, I did not know that you were back. I was waiting on you to get back because you had your head down. Like, I kept looking. I'm like, is that a mannequin head? Is that, what is it? And then you started moving your head, and I'm like, okay, good. He's back.
Oh, with me, it's untailing.
I was getting ready to text you. We had some good comments here. I think I read this before.
I haven't seen any of them.
We said, we do not care what DC thinks. I know, and it makes me feel good that there's so many states sending their National Guard to join you to more or less give DC the finger. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now without getting into politics and so forth. Let's see. HD the Y says, I find it odd that most government officials that visit. Okay, now we're getting ready to get to that. Visit change and they come back. Trump and Obama didn't publicly go, but Biden and Kerry were sent during Trump's first few days as president. Now we're going to be getting to that in just a moment. Elite people, well, actually next, elite people that go there yearly. And they say that it's for every country that is in the treaty to keep Antarctica. They go and have a yearly meeting. But why would John Kerry, why would elite people, older people in the government, senators, why would they go there? Why? Why would you want to go there and have a meeting? That's a big question mark to me.
Summit wise, like, I do see a need to keep Antarctica safe as far as how it's impacted environmentally. I think that is a very important part, but even more than that, and like, I don't want to, like, it may make me sound crazy or conspiratorial. I want to know that it's not a launching pad for a place that somebody that doesn't like us can hurt us. And Cuba showed us that, any place can become right. Even for somebody you don't want there. And especially with the situation in Russia right now, it does give me a little pause and make me a little nervous. But I do see a reason for it.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. I was going to mention his comment. He's talking about Buzz Aldrin. When he went there, he got sick and made up a cover story, but never regained his normal lifestyle after that visit. Now, have you saw what Buzz Aldrin tweeted when he went to Antarctica?
No.
Hey, Cody, how you doing, brother? Welcome aboard. He tweeted something similar to, it's evil, we're all going to die. Something like that. That is what he tweeted, and then it took off.
Buzz says some stuff that like makes you think sometimes. Like, Buzz says some crazy stuff. Like, he'll defend it and toe the party line or toe the line, for a good year or two, and then he'll just come off some off the wall crazy thing. You're like, wait a minute, I thought this guy was like on their side, because he punched the dude about saying we didn't go to the moon, and then you'll hear him say stuff, and you're like, did he just say that he didn't go to the moon? Like, I don't. Right. He's a weird cat.
I'm just saying. I want to throw out too that in 1978, Jesse Marcel, the one that broke the story that, there was a downed UFO at Roswell, then the story was retracted. He said in 1978 that the weather balloon story was a cover-up story and added that the debris was of extraterrestrial origin. Now, so we were talking about 1947 there, or 1957. We're going to go back just a few years before Admiral Byrd passed away. July 12th to July 12th to the 29th of 1952, there was a series of UFOs that were reported in Washington, D.C. They flew over the White House. They did not show up on radar. They would send planes up from Maryland. They would not be there when they would get there. Now, it was put out that there was a series of UFOs. Now, the CIA later retracted the UFO stories and tried to spin this. It was a weather phenomenon with the temperature and the climate and the northern lights and all this horse shit. Now, they did redact the story, the CIA did. So there's where I wanted to point out, what if someone saw, again, the Admiral's Diary, and they come up with, hey, you are nobody, publish this book. We're going to give this to you. You publish this. That way, thinking if the real diary comes out, they're going to be like, oh, well, they got that from that. That's totally bullshit. So.
Well, like I wouldn't be against saying that's like, I would 100% believe that's possible. The only problem is that diary, if that was written by Admiral Byrd, it was written way after, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
And a different, but that's not the claim. The claim was it was written during, and he kept it instead of giving all of his other materials with him. That was his journal from the time that he was there. And I mean, and if you read it, it reads that way. We're flying over. It reads. It is so different from anybody at that time. That's another thing. That would be like, not to this degree. It would be similar to maybe having somebody from the 80s go back to the 50s or 40s and write something. You would be able to tell the difference. You can very much tell the difference in that.
Almanac.
Huh?
Grace Sports Almanac.
There you go. Like you could very much tell the difference in somebody. Like I just once I actually read it, not just heard the stories. Once I actually read the logs, like I just didn't. I don't know. I don't see. Not even to say that the story's not true. Maybe the story is true. I just find zero believability in the diary itself. To me, it is fake.
Now, with the CIA retracting that story, the UFOs and all that, and their spin on it, this actually led to the creation of the Robertson Panel. Now, on February 20th, 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower, this is alleged, this is, this was in like newspaper articles. Not this, there was a story of him needing to go to a dentist late at night and all this other stuff. But it is alleged that he interrupted his vacation in Palm Springs, California, to make a secret nighttime trip to a nearby Air Force base where he met two extraterrestrial aliens. These aliens, nicknamed Nordics in UFO circles because they resemble Scandinavian humans. They traveled to Edwards Air Force Base from another solar system or someplace in a flying saucer, and they asked him to eliminate nuclear weapons. If he agreed, they would share their superior technology and spiritual wisdom. He, of course, declined. And that was in, like I said, 1954. Now, and I've got one more thing here. Then I want to ask. Then I'm going to come back and ask you and everyone watching. The New Yorker printed a little story in January 13th, 2023. And in it, I'm just going to read like a paragraph. An amendment tucked into this year's National Defense Authorization Act. Their budget was $858 billion. This funds the Defense Department's annual operating budget and requires the department to review historical documents related to unidentified aerial phenomenon. That last line, they've got people going over historical records. You've got that much of a budget. If this did not have a teeny tiny little bit of truth, why would you spend that much money? Why?
Well, nobody said they're spending a dime to go over Admiral Byrd's diary.
Right.
Now, that file you showed us about that Roswell, or even more than that, maybe eyewitness accounts and things that the government wasn't necessarily involved in, cases that they missed. I think the government very much believes aliens are real. I would say I believe the same thing. And I would believe the government very much believes that aliens have crashed. I would say I believe the same thing. I would say if they believe, and I think they do, that they have recovered material from a crash, they're not going to admit it. But yeah, I would say they spend more money on alien technology than probably anything else in the government. I'm just saying, I know those people are at least smarter than me.
Right.
I don't think they're spending a dime on the Admiral Byrd story. I don't. Now they may be spending all their time in Antarctica. Maybe Antarctica is the greatest alien hub of the world, but that diary's fake. I believe it's everything in me.
Do you think it's possible though that it could be real, and the CIA or the NSA or the DOI could have, like I said, knew what was in it, and they created this fictitious story, got a guy to publish it? Now, the author of the book that you were talking about, has he had any other books published since then?
The one about the Dalai Lama? Oh, yeah. That's an old, that's an old book, and that's a very it's a retelling of an old old fable, like an old.
Gotcha.
It's not as much. It's not as much that, it's taken something that. Like, to me, if the story had been that instead, like that would have been, but the thing is, and this is like the only way I would believe, and like I said, I'm not even saying that I don't believe it happened. So let's say it did happen. If it did happen, that still doesn't explain why you have this diary that, all right, if the diary's right, this is how bad this guy was. He wrote down, because, you had an actual diary that it was based off of, and they've showed, so a couple people have got to see the actual diary that it was written from. And if that diary's correct, then we really don't have anything to discuss, because if that diary's correct, the one spot in there that had real coordinates, because this isn't his flight logs. Right. This is nobody knows what is the flight logs from that. Nobody's ever read, because they're all classified. Everything.
Right, now let me ask you something. Why would they still be classified from 1947?
I don't know.
What could possibly be in there?
Maybe he found aliens, but that's not
a big snowball or a big place covered with snow. What could possibly be in there in 2024 that was found in 1947 that could hurt us in 2024?
I don't know. Same thing with the Kennedy. I don't. Again, it's not to say that something didn't happen there. That's not my argument. I can't prove that something did or didn't happen there. I have no clue. There's now no real discussion to have on it as far as evidence goes, because we don't have any. Because, like I said, if that is real, then we don't have a discussion to have, because the only coordinates written down in that book show that he never got near the pole. And so he never actually made it in, because if that's the coordinates he was at, and they erased him out, and because they didn't know. It's somebody faking it. They didn't know what they were writing, and then they were off by a lot. So, I mean, again, I'm not saying that nothing at all happened down there.
Right.
And the story that's in that, just that, not even the story. Maybe the story is 100% real. Maybe they had just the article written, the actual written story, because that's what it is, that is considered to be his lost diary, is fake. And no, I don't think I think we're there's a very, very small group of people that think it's legitimate. But I mean, like the real society, we know the fake book that came from.
Right.
I mean, they barely changed the name of the society. Like we know the fake English book that came from, or fictitious book that came from, but it just builds momentum because it's interesting and it sounds good. And the problem to me is, if something really is going on down there, and I don't know, I really don't know. I'm ignorant to it. So I don't know. But if something really is going on down there, and there really is something like that happening, then you're doing their job for them. If they don't want you to know, and they're trying to run, a smear campaign or try to get you to not believe or whatever, then if you believe that document that's clearly fake, then you're just taking in fake information. Like you're hurting yourself, in my opinion, by believing, because I see zero. Like sometimes I can see 50%, 10%, 1%. I see 0% of that document that proves that it's anything other than what it's always been claimed to be.
Well, was there anything tonight that I had read, going over some of his diaries, flight log, whatever you want to call it?
All that stuff comes from that diary.
With the other facts of the 1945 avocado-shaped plane crash, that was, or not plane crash, but UFO crash and some other story, just other facts. Would you? But because I'm going to go ahead and answer it. I think that I don't think we're being told the truth about that. Is his diary real or fake? I think it's
I'm willing to bet my life it's fake. I'm really willing to put my life on it.
I think it's 50-50 just because you can go to other things like the memo 6751 and you can read some stuff there and it just like a big circle. It ties in. Plus, why you answered it, but why would you want to go to 70 below zero to have a peace conference or talk about? That just doesn't make any sense to me. It just really doesn't. And keep in mind,
and I'm not saying that you're wrong. Like, I think that's the misconceptions. I'm not saying I don't believe that will happen or that there's anything down there. Just the discussion was Admiral Byrd and mainly that diary, and I don't see anything there at all.
Well, just keep in mind too that there's still either 61 or 63 U-boats unaccounted for.
Now, do I believe that there was a mass exodus from Germany? Yeah. But that's another one of those things that are kind of like that irk me. And it's why, like,
where did they get the technology from?
We know exactly. Well, for U-boats?
No, I'm talking about like their jets and stuff. Where did all their technology come from?
They weren't that sophisticated. That's a lot of why they lost the war, and a lot of their things failed. And a lot of these big mythical, like, weapons they were mostly drawn out. Da Vinci had a flying machine drawn out, but he never made it fly. But I don't say that in most conversation because it's just an automatic, well, you're just a denier. But that's like the interesting story is we know a lot of Germans got away, and we know they made it to South America, and they've known that since the 50s and 60s. But instead of that being talked about and those people ever going after them or punishing, a lot of them got snuck out and brought to America, and they were clearly war criminals. Mm-hmm. And look, it is
evil people.
Yeah, I don't know that he did, but if you told me I can prove that Hitler made it done, I'd go, okay, I could believe that. But instead of that real thing,
well, if you look at the FBI vault, there's documentation that was released that says they had confirmation he died in 1981 at the age of like 88 or something.
I'd read the same thing, and like that would surprise me. But see, that to me is something they've done a really good job at covering up.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other hand, people talk about Antarctica all the time, and there's no proof of that anything down there involving Nazis, but there's a lot of proof.
Well, it is a historical fact that the Nazis were there to harvest whale oil or something like that.
Whale fat before starting the war, and they were definitely there. And I'm like, well, really, you need that much whale blubber? Yeah, I don't know. Like, that sounds suspicious to me. Exactly. Sounds like a great place for a base, but I'm going to say they found out the same thing that Admiral Byrd found out. That's a very unforgiving place, and it doesn't matter how prepared you think you are mentally. That's not a place you want to base. It's everything these people can do to do research there.
Well, what about this? The True Texan. Why is the JFK still classified?
Because they killed him.
Okay. Do you think that's the only reason? Well, what was JFK pushing for like a week before he was assassinated?
Anything to get his ties to the mob and them getting him in office.
No. What was he wanting the government to do?
UFOs. Disclose UFOs, I guess. I don't know.
Exactly.
I'm not a Kennedy fan. I know there's a lot of them out there. He was who used his dad used the mob openly to get him in office. And then him and his brother went after him. Then they stabbed the mob in the back in the Bay of Pigs, and the mob and the CIA went, you know what? We're going to smoke this guy.
Well,
and they did.
It is known that he was it a memo saying that he was going to release the truth, or he wanted to know the truth, or something to that effect. But it's still, 1947, Antarctica. You might as well walk into a big deep freezer. What is in there that could hurt us in 2024? I think that some questions about how technology and I don't know, man. When I read over that, fake or not, like I said, I went back to other points that I'd read. I think that parallels and backs some of the stuff up. That's all I'm saying. If it's
my opinion,
it was somewhere on the inside that, I don't know. So
my opinion, and I've heard this other places, so it's not original idea. So I sat down and brainstormed this up. I'm not that intelligent. I think likely because Byrd, and I don't remember what the tie was, he had some ties to some of the stuff at the nuclear program. He worked with some people in the nuclear program. I think they went down there, they dropped a bomb. I think that really ticked people off. And I think that's something they'd want hid for a long time. Because we bombed Japan for no reason. They were literally ready to surrender. And if we hadn't had a presidential change right before that, it would have been a peaceful surrender. And the first bomb would have never been dropped. But I think they dropped a bomb. I think that's what's more than likely classified. But I didn't even know they had helicopters back then. I feel stupid saying that, but I didn't realize they used helicopters to fly out in front of their icebreakers back then. They lost a lot of people. That's nothing. They lost a lot of soldiers. Yeah. Not a massive amount, but they lost a lot more than you want to lose on an expedition. And they were warned. They were told by commercial boaters and stuff like this is not where you are the Navy, okay, but you're not, or Air Force at that time. You're not qualified for this. This is not your area of expertise, and they get their ass handed to them, and they come back. That's what I think logically happened, and exactly. And I think dropping the atomic bomb, that's why they keep it classified. Now, if they did drop it, and I think you and I are in the same belief, that's one thing that would get another species very interested. Maybe that's when they started seeing a lot of things popping up and stuff. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's such a place of interest now for UFOs and UFO sightings and stuff, because they did go down and drop a bomb. Because the only people that's ever going to really know that is people that get to the right part of Antarctica and do ice studies, and there are parts of Antarctica that you can't do ice studies in.
Yep. Oh, well, I'm going to wrap stuff up here. Before we go, I want to ask everyone to check out and add our friend Mr. Rich Newbuck on YouTube. Let's help him get to 1,000 subscribers, and you can find him at youtube.com/@Rich Newbuck 1875, and he will be on in a few weeks with Mother Goose. I also want to give a shout out to our social media shout out of the week, HD the Wise, and be sure to like, share, subscribe, show him some love on YouTube. You can find him youtube.com/@Hobbit 321 little a. And I want to thank everyone for watching. I've enjoyed this. I hope you guys.
It's been a good episode.
Talking about this stuff. Because I've put, we've been doing, I guess what, this is going on 4 years. The show this October will be 4 years. And, this is something that we have talked about, but we've never made connections this way to other possible stories and memos and government documents. And I've enjoyed this, and hope you guys have too
a lot.
Good. Thank you, brother. You've done a hell of a job. So that'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week. Remember, we all have a voice, and together we truly can change the world.
And Crisco makes hemorrhoids feel better.
That's it. That's what you're into on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Have a good week, everyone.
What do we do when our world is turned upside down? When everything we thought to be true is ripped away, and we're forced to face a new reality? We may be closing our eyes instead of opening them.
One day I'm up, the next I'm down. You got my head spinning round and round. Too much confusion, no one to blame.
Junker systems are offline.
You've been listening to Here To Chew Bubblegum 2.0. Be sure to tune in next week.